What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of Ace Attorney 6. Last time, we recovered the Founder's Orb, got out of the cave, where Apollo almost drowned, and now it turns out Phoenix is going to represent Politician. Mr. Wright, why are you serving as Mr. Atician's lawyer? Because he hired me. He needed my help in getting a family heirloom back from Dr. Buff. And it seems he correctly foresaw that something like this might happen. It's because those shifty insurgents were harassing poor Dr. Buff. So I knew I might need a lawyer if things went south. I figured with a celebrated lawyer like Phoenix Wright, I couldn't go wrong. Haha, it's so nice that Phoenix has such a higher reputation now, because God knows, in all the other games, it's always like, look at this rookie nobody lawyer, and now he's finally the venerated one. Is this what you came back from Kurain for, Mr. Wright? It was just good timing. My work over there just happened to wrap up, so here I am. Plus, Mr. Atician is a very important client. They know each other? But I've never heard of Mr. Wright mention his name before. Mr. Wright, are you sure this is Mr. Atician's family heirloom? That's my client's assertion. He says it's the crystal of Amy Faye. Apparently, it's the crystal she once used when channeling spirits. Who's Amy Faye? She brought Kuraini's channeling to Japan, and her descendants brought it here. Her true origins are still rather murky. But what's clear is she is the founder of the Kurain channeling technique. So she's like the one they call the founder in Kurain, the Holy Mother. Apollo, I don't plan to betray my client's confidence. I may not know all the facts yet, but I do know we won't be handing the crystal over to you. What? Are you saying... I'm really sorry it's come to this, but... Mr. Wright, I don't understand. Let me spell it out then. If you continue to claim that the crystal belongs to your client, then I'll be seeing you in court. What's gotten into you, Daddy? Nothing. This is strictly business. Two lawyers from the same firm facing off. What are the odds? Lucky for me, I believe I have the right man for the job. Whatever are you going to do? Remember, he is your boss. How did it come to this? Mr. Wright, please, don't do this. Apollo, there's no point in arguing about it here. When it's now clear we're headed to court, that's where we'll find out who the crystal really belongs to. I don't believe it. Am I really going to face Mr. Wright in court? Daddy! Apollo! No! We can't have our agency's talent competing against each other. It's too late, Trucy. The die's been cast. We each have to fight for our client's best interest. But... So, what's it going to be, Apollo? Are we going to have to take this to trial? I have to battle Mr. Wright in court. The legendary Phoenix Wright. No matter how many trials of his I've watched. No matter how dire the situation, he's always pulled out a win in the end. Can I do it? Can I really take on the man whose footsteps I've been following in? I owe it to Jerk to at least try. What should I do? There's no turning back now. If it's a trial you want, Mr. Wright, I'm more than happy to oblige. I'm ready to fight for my client, even if it means facing off against you. All right. I won't be pulling any punches either, Apollo. The kid gloves are officially off. May the best attorney win. You got it. Whoa, whoa, whoa! First Daddy, now you? Polly, you're not seriously. Sorry, Trucy, but I have to do this. Apollo. All right then, I better go prepare for tomorrow. See you in court. Bum, bum, bum. Daddy, no! Wait! A fine mess I've gotten you into, son. I mean, of all the lawyers we could have faced, it had to be him. He's practically a celebrity in Kurain now. They're calling him the Fighting Phoenix. I'll be fine. After all, I've come a long way, too. Who knows? I could even end up winning. There's always a chance, right? You know, this may be a blessing in disguise. If the trial proves what we found is indeed the Founder's Orb, then whoever asked Dr. Buff to study it may be revealed too. This is our chance to finally pull them out of the shadows. The first step of your revolution, huh? Yes. The revolution to restore Kurain to its former glory and save Nayuta's soul. Dirk, I swear to fight as hard as I can in court to make that a reality. We're going to win this one, you'll see. I know you can do it, son. It doesn't matter what I'll be going up against. It doesn't matter that I'll be going up against Mr. Wright. I have to win this for Dirk. And for Nayuta. His salvation, along with all of Kurain, depends on it. Well, it says to be continued, so I guess I'll have to save it for the next episode. I'm just kidding. That'd be dumb. Whoop, 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 whoop. Just so you know, I'm not going to take sides. Message received loud and clear. Good, because I don't like this one bit. You and Daddy should be on the same team. Sorry, Trucy. Wow, she's really mad. I'm sorry too, little lady. This is all my fault. I'm just worried things will never be the same between Daddy and Apollo. If they go through with this. Is that all? Well, I wouldn't worry about that. That's the way it is with us men. We may fight, but we don't burn bridges. Really? Sure. 1 minute we're trading blows, the next we're having drinks together. We're simple creatures at heart. I sure hope you're right. I sure hope your sweeping generalization is right. Sorry I'm late, Apollo. Athena, there you are. What happened with you and Mr. Wright yesterday? Oh, about that. I ended up going to the wrong airport. I was waiting there thinking his flight was really late, and before I knew it, I dozed off. By the time I woke up, it was already dark. I figured something like that had happened. Being late and dozing off are the two things you do best. Guilty as charged. So then, I take it you have no idea what today's case is about. Not a clue, sorry. What is today's case about, if I might ask? Another locked room mystery? A suspect with a flimsy alibi? Or a dying message? Sorry, strike 3, you're out. It's a civil case. A civil case? You act like I'm speaking Swahili here. It's just, the Wright Anything Agency specializes in criminal law, or so I thought. In civil cases, there are no prosecutors, right? Instead, both parties retain an attorney. Right, and the other attorney is someone you know very well. Really? Who? The trial will begin shortly. Please proceed to the courtroom at once. Okay, let's do this. Apollo, wait. Who's the other attorney? And where is Mr. Wright? No time to explain. Let's go. Okay, right behind you. Boop, 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 boop. Court is now in session. Oh, is this some sort of practice session? A mock trial, perhaps? No, it's not, Your Honor. It's the real deal, Your Honor. So that you two have had a falling out. I won't have you using my courtroom for that, you know. It's nothing like that, Your Honor. Exactly. It just so happens that we have different clients in this case. I see. Well, here's to hoping this has no adverse effect on your working relationship. You could say that again. I had no idea we'd be going up against the boss today. Well, if my memory serves, this isn't the first time Apollo's had to go against his own firm, right? Because Clavier's brother, who I don't remember the name of, wasn't Apollo the attorney in that case? You'll have to correct me. You sure this is a good idea, Apollo? What? Do you want to switch sides? Honestly, I'd rather be anywhere but here right now. Well, at least she is here. I'm really going to need her help. Mr. Justice. Yes! Don't expect me to pull any punches just because you're the opposing lawyer. As I said, the kid gloves are off. And come what may, they'll stay off. Same here, Mr. Wright. If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. Yeesh, you guys are really chomping at the bit, aren't you? I don't mind a good fight between co-workers. Just keep this civil case civil. Now then, if the plaintiff would take the stand, we may begin. Noble judge, members of the gallery, good day to you. I am politician. This is but the start of my epic campaign, and you all have the honor of witnessing it. I believe the youth of this country are our very future. Too long have they been looked down on and given the cold shoulder. So to them I say, ask not what you can do for your country. Ask what you can do for me. Mr. Attition, what is that crazy contraption you're riding? It's my custom-made, election-winning campaign mobile. Beautiful, isn't it? No. You're at a witness stand, not a campaign podium. So come out of there this instant! He rarely gets angry. Alright, now, with the plaintiff's attorney, Mr. Wright, please explain the complaint filed against the defendant. Mr. Attition's complaint against the defendant is simple. The defendant, one Dirk Satmati, stole my client's family heirloom, the crystal of Amy Faye. Mr. Attition merely seeks its return. This wouldn't have happened if that archaeologist hadn't kicked the bucket. I see. Well, Mr. Justice, let's have your opening statement if you would. The defense asserts the item in question is the Founder's Orb, a sacred relic from Kurain. Go on. It seems someone asked an archaeologist, Dr. Archie Buff, to study the orb. Dr. Buff determined that it was a Kurainese national treasure known as the Founder's Orb. The very orb that was stolen from a treasure room in Kurain several weeks ago. Why, yes, I saw a news report about that. The theft of a Kurainese national treasure caused quite an uproar in the kingdom. Well, we believe that it was not, in fact, a theft in the traditional sense, but rather that it was spirited out of Kurain by someone for Dr. Buff to study. You don't say. And? Around that time, an acquaintance of the defendant learned of Dr. Buff. He made contact with a doctor who agreed to hand over the orb. Apparently, the doctor wanted nothing to do with it once he learned it had been stolen. It seems you even have a transfer agreement between both parties. Mr. Sadmati also agreed to return the Founder's Orb to the Kingdom of Kurain. once the doctor verified it was the real thing. I see. So this dispute centers on whether the item in question is the Founder's Orb or the Crystal of Amy Faye. That, in turn, will determine the object's rightful owner. I better bring my A game. Going up against Mr. Wright won't be a walk in the park. Come to think of it, the name Dirk Sodmati sounds awfully familiar. But I can't recall where I've heard it. Oh, it's probably your imagination, Your Honor. He's just a tourist, after all. My imagination, you say? Are you sure about this, Apollo? He's a wanted criminal in Kurain, isn't he? In Kurain, yes. Here, he's just a tourist. Very well. Let's begin the proceedings. Bailiff, would you bring in the first witness? Who are you? Oh. Emma! Show some manners, we're in court. I know, it's just... This is a civil trial, so I was surprised to see a detective take the stand. I had her do some digging on Dr. Buff. What for? You disappoint me, Apollo. First, you know I'm not just a detective. I'm a forensic scientist. Do try to remember that. Second, you owe Mr. Wright an apology. After all he's done for you, you have some nerve! First, I'm sorry, and second, I'm really just trying to do my job. You'll never get anywhere with that attitude. Take some advice from someone who's been there. Why do I feel like I'm on trial here? Detective Sky, your testimony, if you please. The police have had their eyes on Dr. Buff for some time. And just today, a number of stolen artifacts were discovered in his study. Among them were a priceless urn and a statue that were stolen from the Fae clan. It seems the doctor would do anything to study artifacts, including steal them. As for the relic at the center of this dispute, he likely stole it from the Atishan residence. The doctor is a thief? Why am I just hearing about this now? Well, cat burglar isn't something he'd put on his resume. He was more careful than that. But the fact is, he was a classic treasure hunter. Like people who have thrilling adventures in exotic places, risking life and limb for glory? I doubt Dr. Buff was the star of his own hit movie series, Athena. Out of respect for the dead, I will say that Dr. Buff wasn't doing it to get rich. Apparently, he only wanted to borrow artifacts to study them. He would then return them as soon as his research was finished. According to the doctor's child, he would even repair or restore some of the artifacts he stole before returning them. He believed he was honoring the dead by discovering their history through artifacts. But whatever lofty ideals he had, it makes no difference. Larceny is larceny. Yes, he certainly sounds no different from a regular thief to me. So, let's say for a moment that the doctor really did moonlight in stealing artifacts. Might he not have stolen the Founder's Orb in Kurain and brought it back here himself? Nope! There's no record of him traveling overseas over the past few years. Plus, he couldn't very well leave his reclusive child at home all alone. Then this really must be the Crystal of Amy Faye. Yes, he stole it from the Atishan residence, probably so he could study it. This is the left hook I did not need. I bet you never saw that coming, Apollo. Yeah, when Mr. Wright said the kid gloves were off, he wasn't kidding. Mr. Justice, you may proceed with your cross-examination. How exactly did Dr. Buff arouse the suspicion of the police anyway? Chalk it up to good old-fashioned sleuthing. After investigating countless artifact thefts over the past few years, the police finally zeroed in on him, and the doctor became their prime suspect. A number of those artifact thefts occurred in Kurain Village too, if I might add. And they started right around the time the doctor moved there. But he was never arrested. I take it there was nothing concrete linking him to a crime. No, which is why we were never able to get a search warrant in the first place. It's hard to arrest artifact thieves unless you catch them red-handed. Still, the police had him under constant surveillance. Hold it! Are you sure these allegedly stolen artifacts are the real deal? They're not fakes, that's for sure. Take the urn, for example. Apparently, it's an extremely intricate work of art. Its design, cracks, and other features would be impossible to replicate perfectly. Actually, I've had a few run-ins with that urn myself. So I was shocked to see it there in the doctor's study. I can say without a doubt that that urn was stolen from the Fae clan. I see. Detective Sky, please continue with your testimony if you would. Hold it! Were any other stolen artifacts found besides those belonging to the Faes? Yes, for instance. Remember the large relief on the wall? It was chiseled out of some ancient ruins in the kingdom of Kurain several years ago. Chiseled out? Didn't that damage it? Well, he did restore the parts that were so faded you could barely see them anymore. It seems he intended to return it someday, so one could say his intentions were good. But good intentions are no get-out-of-jail-free card, that's a fact. If I might add, with respect for the deceased, the quality of the restoration was apparently exceptional. It seems the doctor invested a lot of money in hiring an extremely talented specialist. He sounds like a good man, who took a wrong turn somewhere. I guess Sarge takes after him in that way. Any further questions? If not... Hold it! Had these alleged thefts been going on for some time? At least 5 years, as far as we can tell. All the recent thefts had been local. But before moving to Kurain Village, he had been stealing from ruins around the world. Dr. Buff was an international criminal. This data lends itself to but one conclusion. Dr. Buff was a thief. As for the relic at the center of this dispute, he likely stole it from the... Okay, here we go. Hold it! You claimed he stole a family heirloom from the Atishan residence. But claiming something doesn't make it true. Unfortunately, it is true. How can you be so sure? A police report was filed concerning the theft. 1 year ago, in fact. What? A whole year ago? August 25th of last year, to be exact. The report states, and I quote, "The crystal of Amy Faye was discovered to be missing. From the Atishan storehouse at 10 a.m., the storehouse lock had been picked. Signed, Paul Atishan Wimperson." Well, a year-old report certainly lends the plaintiff's claim credence. The doctor could really have stolen the crystal of Amy Faye. Not only that, Your Honor, but the Founder's Orb was only found to be missing several weeks ago. That is nearly a year after the crystal's theft was reported. Therefore, I believe we must consider the orb and the crystal to be two separate items. Paul Atishan Wimperson. Not the most awe-inspiring tail end, is it? I see why he cut it. Not that he inspires confidence without it. Still, I'd probably do the same in his shoes. A police report was filed about the crystal's theft a year ago. But the theft of the Founder's Orb was only reported a few weeks ago. So the crystal's police report was filed way before the orb was found missing. That suggests the stolen relic is the Crystal of Amy Faye, as Mr. Atishan Wimperson asserts. I doubt the police report is a fake. After all, Emma is the one who submitted it as evidence. Still, I feel like something we learned in that police report is important somehow. I wonder. What could it be? Nope. No. Now, what was this data again? Ah. The opaque crystal is the key. A robbery report. Discovered to be missing. I wonder. Is the relic at the center of this dispute? What could this one be? It's gotta be this statement. I think it's this statement. Maybe maybe this? Because it's got the picture. I don't know.
Objection!
Oh, I got it! What? The doctor stole the relic from the plaintiff. Are you sure? Because that statement doesn't agree with a certain piece of evidence. What do you mean? Take a look at this. What about it? This contains an email from the doctor's computer. Email? In that little piece of plastic? I'm afraid I don't understand. Oh, this stick here can store all sorts of computer data. I still don't get it. Just look at this. Apparently, the doctor was reporting his research findings to a certain individual. Now take a look at this. It's the police report Detective Sky presented to this court. You can see the plaintiff's legal name on it. Paul Atishan Wimperson. I can see why he dropped Wimperson from his name, but that's hardly breaking news. Look closer, Your Honor. His initials. Right. The plaintiff's full legal name is Paul Atishan Wimperson. Now consider this. The email's recipient address starts with the 3 letters. Pa. Don't tell me. Oh, but I will anyway. The individual who hired the doctor to study the disputed item is none other than Paul Atishan Wimperson. Wait, then that means... Exactly. He wouldn't have asked the man who stole his family heirloom to study it. Therefore, how could this possibly be the Crystal of Amy Faye? We never checked the doctor's emails. We couldn't even figure out the password to his computer. The plaintiff willingly left the orb in the doctor's care so we could study it. At the behest of his benefactor. Wait, then what about the police report? I have all the details of the theft right here. It's probably for another relic, the real Crystal of Amy Faye. He's just using the report as a way to claim that our orb is actually a stolen crystal.
Objection!
And how are you so certain that Pa refers to my client's initials? Maybe the email's recipient was a dog lover. Perhaps. So let's get to know your client a little better, shall we? Mr. Paul Atishan Wimperson. I suppose shutting down detractors is all part of a politician's job. Answer me this, Mr. Attition Wimperson. What is your birthday? Wait, what? How many numbers were there at the end of his email? I guess I can look. Hold on. Oops, wrong one. Oop, passed it. 711. 711. Your favorite food? What's your favorite food? Curry rice. You know what? Sorry, I was gonna put birthday, because that makes sense, but because usually people put 2 numbers, and that's the birth year. But instead, 7-11 makes way more sense as July 11th, so I made a mistake. Really? As in boil up some rice and dump some curry sauce on top? That curry rice? I bet you assumed I'd say French cuisine, just because I'm a member of the political elite. But nothing beats the delectable curry recipe my ancestors brought over from Japan. And I'm the kind of representative who upholds the value of such traditions. Is his entire strategy really just to pander to traditional value voters? Your penalty is served, Mr. Justice. Let this be some food for thought. Why don't we take another look at the email address? It's fine, I'm fine. Just need another crack at it. Your birthday! What is your birthday? My birthday? It's July 11th, but what's it to you? Oh, I see. You can address birthday gifts to my office. But full disclosure, I only accept gifts valued at $1,000 or more. Why has everyone gone silent? How can anyone be that self-centered? Oh, right, politician. Did everyone hear that? He said July 11th. Or rather, 7-11 matches the numbers in the email address. Both the name and birthday are a match. I hardly think that's a coincidence. Wait. Why, you sneaky little? Looks like someone finally decided to join the conversation. Would the plaintiff care to explain? I'd like to say that is quite what? Quite a thing, you've said. Any other thoughts? No further comments. I stand by my previous statement.
Hold it!
You can't just walk away. Even politicians have to explain themselves in a court of law. I'm afraid I simply don't know how it happened. I can't possibly explain matters outside of my purview. Perhaps it was a mistake on the part of my secretary. Oh no, you don't, you slippery eel. Mr. Wright, would you care to respond? I won't argue your assertion. My client lent the treasure in question to the doctor and asked him to study it. It seems that much is a fact. Now we're getting somewhere. And with it being over 30 minutes, I'm gonna end this video here. So enjoy the rest of your Friday, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye!